Good morning and welcome to Better Thyself segment of Dr. Lamba's Awakening Call. Today we talk about the real beauty. The beauty doesn't lie in perfection. Perfection should be the aim. Beauty lies in imperfection. As a matter of fact, when you are absolutely perfect, you're boring. And that is why in the traditional Japanese aesthetics, wabi-sabi is a word created on the acceptance of the transient and imperfection. And as a matter of fact, you would yourself have felt that the people who were assumed to be without any flaw are often reach the end of their plateau and they cannot have any hope of further improvement. And nothing is there in the whole universe which cannot be improved further. The aesthetic is sometimes defined as a beauty, and that is imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. Mona Lisa is supposed to be one of the finest paintings, and yet its flaws have been the cause of its enjoyment, its appreciation, and endless debate about the real meaning of Mona Lisa. Imperfection is not only in your day-to-day work, it's in your surroundings, it's in your habitat. Whether you are is your house, whether it's your career, whether it's your relationship, absolutely perfect, flawless, without any blemish, would be a cause of endless rivalry, heartburning, and and a feeling not of contentment but of ennui. What am I living for? As a matter of fact, imperfection creates an urge to learn more, an urge to be more perfect, to be able to enjoy your aesthetics, your life, even in your homes. Fancy interiors might photograph very well. They are good for the magazine covers. But along with that, it calls for a heavy maintenance with constant worry of spotlessness. Everything should be spotless. Not a stain should be there, not a wrinkle should be there. So here's a trend that caters to the apprehension of the most design trends that are popular these days in interior decoration. Wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi is not only meant for interior decoration, it's meant for your life. Basically, it's an ideology for contemplation and philosophy of life. It rejoices the acceptance of what is here, what is now, with its impermanence, with its imperfection. Of course, that doesn't mean that you're content with imperfection. There's a constant need to improve. But imperfection is not to be slighted. Enjoy it and improve further. Enjoy and improve further. And just as modernism uses the box as a metaphor, so is a bowl to wabi-sabi. Wabi-sabi looks for a more personal and idiosyncratic design and a solution for interior design, interior of your house, and interior of your mind. Is comfortable with ambiguities and contradictions. And basically, it is inspired by the Buddhist wisdom. Buddhist wisdom was basically for the inner world And then the interior decorators and architects it converted it into interior design and modernistic attitudes. The wabi-sabi style encourages a more intuitive and variable interior designing that is in sync with nature. And that's what Buddhism essentially says, that whatever you do should be in sync with nature. The moment it's a deviation, it's no longer pulsating with life. Unlike most trends, wabi sabi rejects the use of mass produced goods. That's what we say being politically correct. Inspires a more personalized style of living, often with a degree of a usage. And let's not forget, it's not a radical departure from perfection. It's basically a platform to reach perfection. Aim is perfection, but imperfection is not to be rejected. As a matter of fact, nothing that exists is today without imperfection. Even things that appear to be perfect are an illusion, the illusion of perfection. And wabi sabi represent the exact opposite of the Western ideal of great beauty, that is something monumental and enduring. In the Oriental philosophy, nothing is enduring except your mind. And the essence of wabi sabi is experienced in small doses. Essentially, the Buddhist philosophy, the Vedanta philosophy, and Inca philosophy merge on this point. However, with the coming in of the Western, this small micro satisfaction was forgotten, and we learned to live with perfection, which doesn't mean anything. And truth comes from the observation of nature. Our life, as our living, reflect the prevalent materialistic aspirations. Our living spaces, like our lives, show scant regard for our need of peace of mind. Sharp marketing strategies play a dominant role in defining the role that we should have. As a matter of fact, the nature and character of our living, our style of living, and our mode of living is defined by these outside factors. So it's extremely important to closely observe and consider the pattern of nature and incorporate them in our decor style according to the architects and in our personal life according to us. You know, I'm reminded of a story. An elderly woman had two large pots, and she would go to the river, fill up both pots with water, and come home. And one of the pots had a crack at the bottom, so water would drip down. By the time she reached home, that cracked pot would be half full, and the other would be fully up to the brim. And then, this went on for a couple of years, and one day there was a fight between the imperfect pot and the perfect pot. And the perfect pot said, well, look, you're no good. By the time you reach home, you're half full, your water has gone out, and the old woman has to work hard. So the poor cracked pot was ashamed. But what the old woman said, she said, look here, you should not be ashamed of yourself because of the crack in your side. You think you are not good, but then when we see come tomorrow, look at the pavement side you. And when they walked back the next day, there were blooming flowers on that side of the road where the cracked pots used to be there. And the old woman said, look here, did you notice these flowers? And there are no flowers on the perfect pot side. And the reason is that I knew that you are cracked, so I had planted seeds along this path. And when the water drips from you, it waters those seeds, and those seeds have bloomed. While the cracked pot has been able to produce flowers, the perfect pot was useless as far as the beauty and generation of beauty was concerned. So, and then she went on to say, well, look here, it's with your help that I grow the flowers and then I collect them and then I sell them. Without you being the way you are, there would be no livelihood for me and there would be no beauty of flowers that adorns my home and the home of the other people who buy those flowers. So, the crux of the matter is that each human being, like that crackpot, has some flaw. But the flaw has to be unique. Flaw doesn't mean you should be jealous. Envy can be a flaw. But it's good because it aims at bettering yourself to reach the level of the others. So it's the cracks and the flaws that we have that make our lives very interesting and rewarding. And wabi-sabi concept, this Japanese concept, based on the Buddhist philosophy, makes us realize the need of our imperfections and not only to be satisfied with them, but to enjoy them and then improve them. As a matter of fact, we have got to look into the beauty of each imperfection. Those imperfections which people call imperfections might be your USPs, unique selling propositions. And we ignore that. So smell the flowers on the side of the path and stay blessed forever. Now, what Wabi Sabi does is it discourages the overindulgence in the materialistic world, incorporating in that architectural world, home self-made pots, artifacts, decors, not only follow the Wabi Sabi standard, but customize the decor pieces according to the need. Same is about you. You don't have to follow the Jones, the neighbors. You don't have to go by the mass-produced requirements because everybody says so, so you have to be so. No, your unique point has to be exploited to the fullest so that you emerge as a perfect human being, not as a part of the herd. Cattle belong to the herds. Human beings don't. Each one is individual. So using material to hold on to the ideology, here the material is your characteristics, your essential traits. And that will give a dimension, new dimension to your personality. Each human being's distinctive personality is a composition of perfect, imperfect, trying to be perfect. And you ignore the imperfect, or you want to suppress the imperfect, is suppressing the essential part of it. In the buildings, if you see the exposed concrete renders a very raw and warm texture of the space. Have you seen those buildings with a rough surface outside? They look best when paired with the soft and technical textures. Same is about too. The rough outer surface. You know, in India, the first deputy prime minister and the home minister, Sardar Patel, they used to call him walnut. Absolutely hard and wrinkled and everything. But inside, look at your brain. It, within the skull, which is the hardest part of the body, it doesn't crack easily. But the brain is again wrinkled and everything. It's not smooth. So your personality need not be smooth. And you would understand. So what should be the part of wabi-sabi? A, no glossy materials. Materials that clearly show the passage of time. The old things, honesty, integrity, authenticity. These are the essential parts of wabi-sabi. Materials are the habits which are expressive and attractive, and liberty of shape, form, thought, and action. Choice of texture has to be variegated and casual. You can't have an absolutely regimented style of thinking. If you think in a regimented style, the result would be disaster. Aesthetically, you have got to disregard the conventional notions of beauty and perfection. The conventional notions are basically evolved from the lowest common denominator. Else, the lowest common denominator is basic to all human beings. An animal herd instinct. It should be applicable to everybody. But you, as I said, are a human being. So the LCM is not applicable to you. It should be GCM. And the beauty in the smallest unnoticeable details is important. Say you are punctual, and being punctual in this world where the people are casual is something a height of beauty. People would envy you. No bold, harsh colors, but bold and soft. So your whole attitude has to be that full of balance, full of simplicity, and should be customizable. Wabi Sabi as a concept inspired simplicity. The simplicity is best described in a state of grace, arrived at by sober, modest, heartfelt intelligence. And believe me, really, simplicity is not so simple. The most complex thing in the world is being simple because simplicity basically means your exterior. But inside you, it's something vibrating, pulsating. I gave you the example of Sardar Patel. Outside, he was very simple. Mahatma Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, very simple. All the leaders like Krishna, Jesus, simple, calm looking, but inside, revolutionary. And they change the world. Have ideas. They are more important inside you than just the bold talk. So, wabi sabi is basically an attempt to integrate your imperfections as a part of your personality. And you can be a better human being by embracing your imperfections, enjoy them, not condemn them. They can be a source which identify you as an individual. And what can be a better thing be that you are a human being deemed human as an individual, not a part of the herd, not a part of the class. So enjoy your perfections. Beauty lies in imperfection, not in perfection. Remember that. Thank you.